Hi, Cancers, and welcome to your January 2017 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky again, and here we are across from 2016. We're jumping into this new energy, and I feel like a lot of you Cancers out there are excited for that. I know there's also a little bit of fear with that because 2016 was a really trying year for most of the Cancers that I've known. So on one hand, you're really excited to be jumping into 2017, but on the other hand, you're kind of like doing it kind of cautiously because you kind of took a lot of leap of faiths in 2016, which kind of landed you in some difficult positions. You learned a lot, but you're ready to be a bit more cautious, I think, but also really kind of take the bull by the horns. So that, in essence, is the energy that I see with you guys moving into 2017. So right now it's raining where I'm at as I film this reading, and I knew when it started raining that I had to record Cancer's reading because there was just something inside of me that really attached to a Cancerian energy. I felt so comfortable deep within, and I made some coffee, and I started to make my way outside to kind of take in the energy of the rain, to kind of set the mood, okay? And I was really happy. I was really comfortable feeling. And all of a sudden, I was kind of presented with a really difficult situation, an unexpected kind of difficult situation that did make me feel really uncomfortable. And it made me think to myself, so this is what Cancer is going through right now. This is essentially the energy that Cancer is being faced with. You know, you feel really comfortable inside, and you start to make your way to extend that further, to really become one with your environment, to really take it to the next level, and all of a sudden you're faced with really uncomfortable, difficult situations. And it really hit me deep within with a sadness, not for myself, not for my own situation, because I'm where I'm at in my experience for my own reason, for my own actions. So it wasn't a sadness that I took on for myself, but I really took on a strong sadness for Cancers, and I actually start to get a little bit emotional just thinking about it right now, because, you know, this isn't where Cancer needs to be. There's been a big shift in Cancerian energy in the last year. You know, I say that Cancer and Scorpio have both had like really big shifts, and they're very similar. Like Cancer and Scorpio are in really similar places. So I suggest that the Cancers watch the Scorpio video and that the Scorpios watch the Cancer video, because you guys are both on a very similar energy field right now. And there's just been a big shift to both of you, and that has kind of put you at the same level energetically. So back to my point, I took on such an immense feeling of sadness, and because for me it's not that huge of a deal, you know, where I'm at, it's just kind of part of it. It's just, you know, life happens. But I thought, if I were in a more difficult situation than I am right now, if I were a little bit less, you know, spiritually whole than I am right now, like this could have potentially hit me in a much more difficult way than I expected. This could have really altered my path the way that it is right now. And I thought, wow, this is Cancer. This is what they're experiencing. So right now I'm going to jump into this reading. I'm really going to try to look at things and get deep with it all. So I suggest that you guys get comfortable. I suggest that you make some coffee or tea, whatever it is that makes you comfortable. And let's sit back. Let's get into the shadows of some of this. Let's really look deep into why this energy is where it's at, because it's not healthy right now. It's struggling. The universe is putting some things into the Cancer experience right now that requires some inward looking. So without further ado, let's get it straight into this. Okay, so I'm going to start off by talking about some of the overarching themes that I just see right off the bat for you guys, and then I'll kind of get into a more January specific, like week to week spread. Okay, and you know, I actually did a really amazing reading with a client about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. And she was a Cancer, and there was a specific thing that she said to me that made me kind of have a light bulb moment about the Cancer experience. You know, she was going through a trying period of her own in the relationship field, and she described her personal situation with this person that she was going through it with. as the moth and the light. And I believe that's what I'm titling your video, Cancer. I'm not sure yet because it has so much validity throughout all of this, throughout the cards that are up, through everything. Okay? And in essence, the whole idea is that you find yourself in this bond with another person, and regardless of potentially what's happening between the two of you, or whether you consciously want or don't want to be with this person, it's as if there's this attraction, this universal energy that comes in and creates this dynamic like a moth and a light source. It's like the moth is attracted to the light, and regardless, it doesn't tend to go off into the darkness. It always goes towards the light, even if that puts it into a difficult situation, even if it burns it, you know what I mean? And you guys have the Lovers in your reading, which is in essence an amazing archetype to think about, the moth and the light and the Lovers card in tarot. And I was amazed that it came up in your reading. I'd actually done the photography for this before I did the reading with this client, so it was just crazy to me that had come up as well. And I think what's happened for a lot of Cancers, and she actually said this herself, she thought that she was the moth and the other person was the light. But through a difficult and trying situation, she learned that, or she felt that she was the moth and he was the light. It was like when the dynamic of the relationship changed, although in the past she felt that it was him who couldn't resist being brought into her, she found that when the dynamic changed, it was her that couldn't resist being brought into him. And it was like there was a shift, Even though she still had experience with this person, it wasn't the same. It's like he was unavailable to some extent, but she still had that attraction, and it's just like everything was turned on its head. And you get into the kind of the essence of the Tower as well. It's like when you have dynamics like that, like those connection dynamics that we see in the Lovers, and like the whole idea of the moth and the light, it's like when the relationship changes, you start to see it turn on its head, and everything just tends to change up. And I think that it's due to a connection like this whole moth and the light idea, that Cancers have found themselves in a precarious situation, in a difficult situation where they've really had to face themselves. And Cancers always will have to, it's the fourth house, it's the bottom of the zodiac wheel. It's kind of one of the more scarier places to be in the zodiac, the fourth house, the stage of Cancer. It's a part of the astrological system that doesn't have outside influence. It's the very deep recesses of your internal condition, you know what I mean? It's not outwardly influenced. It's something that you have to face and make your own at the innermost level, conscious decisions about, and that in essence is the energy of Cancer and the fourth house. So that's becoming really, really prominent and obvious for the Cancers out there, and it has been for the last year. The good news is I think you're going to come out of it soon, okay? I really do. Or you're going to face it in a way where it becomes something that motivates you to achieve on the outside world. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about each week in January, and I'll kind of tie some of this in because I just feel like I need to jump into this more chronologically themed part of the reading. So the first week of January, you have the King of Cups rooted down by the Seven of Wands. And to me, this says that in the first week, either you're going to be presented with somebody from your past who is also a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, but they've potentially evolved higher, and it's going to feel like a different kind of connection that you have with them now. That's possible. If you have any very prominent masculine, mature water sign energies in your life right now, the first week of January is going to see you facing them about something. This could come with a bit of conflict and a bit of fighting, because it seems like there's something that's been unresolved, but you will be on higher ground. Your point stands higher than theirs from what I see. You're kind of above this person, although you might have a lot of opposition nonetheless, but you're strong enough to handle it. You've built up and conditioned your mentality and your emotions to be something that is a major force to be reckoned with. and we'll talk about that more in a second. But this could also take form of a water sign masculine energy that's in your life who is being very withdrawn, who might be keeping information from you, who might be not telling you how they feel, very tempered, very, just pulled back, not being over emotive, that can be the King of Cups sometimes. A lot of people wouldn't guess that person to be the water archetype because, there's a fear in the King of Cups to be authentic with somebody, to wear your heart on your sleeve, because the King of Cups has been in a lot of situations where that's not served them, so they kind of can be really withdrawn and kind of aloof sometimes. All right, and maybe that could be where this conflict comes from. Maybe you've established yourself as someone who won't take advantage of them wearing their heart on their sleeve, but they still won't with you. And it kind of makes you ask yourself, well, what do you really think of me if you won't be open and honest and authentic around me? Do you not trust me? And there could be issues of trust come up in the first week of January. You'll be facing it one way or another, and it looks like your side of it is stronger. Although sometimes with the King of Cups, it doesn't matter whose side is stronger because they always can give or inspire the emotions in a situation to play out in their favor. But logically, from a swords standpoint, like if you have a king or a queen of swords in your life, or if you can hone in on that energy, you're going to have the better side of the argument, most likely. The Cancer will. And, if it's two Cancers, like I have been seeing, good luck, because Cancers are, in essence, Cancers are going to win in January. Whatever competition they find themselves in, whatever, conflict, they're going to win. So if it's two Cancers, it's probably just going to be like a fight to the death. I don't mean that seriously, but hopefully, the whole theme for two Cancers would be, who are potentially in a relationship or something, would be to find middle ground and compromise. That would be the ultimate thing, because I don't think that either of you are going to be able to convince the other of your side of the argument. Okay, and moving into the second week, there is some kind of hollow victory that comes forward. Whoever wins, it's like they win and then they all of a sudden feel bad about it. And this happens all the time with Cancer, because you guys can actually be pretty competitive. You guys can be kind of aggressive sometimes because you're a cardinal sign. Only a handful of people will ever see that side of you in your lifetime, Cancer. But, you guys can be really aggressive and competitive. So it's like you're winning and you win, and all of a sudden you're like, but there's more to it than this. I don't feel happy with myself. That's the double-edged sword that Cancer always faces. It's so easy for them to win, generally. Like, they have a really strong competitive spirit. But sometimes the way that victory affects their relationships causes them a bit of pain and emotional unrest. So I see you guys potentially experiencing that in the second week. Regardless, there's going to be a sense of, lack of emotional availability within you. You're feeling very drained. You've got the Ace of Cups reversed. And this is what I felt when I was talking earlier in the video when it first started about, how I was feeling really comfortable. Then all of a sudden, in my life, something presented itself that completely took that away for whatever reason. And I realized that that's what Cancers were going through. And then I saw this and I'm like, okay, this is that energy, the Five of Swords above the Ace of Cups reversed. Potentially you were taken advantage of in some sense, Cancer, and that's really drained you. You may have felt objectified about something. You may feel as if someone won an argument with you and that's all that mattered. Maybe if you were on the losing side, which I feel is a smaller percentage, but if you were, maybe the other person is really rubbing that victory in your face, sort of being a sore winner, and that's really drained you because you thought there was more to your relationship than this. You thought that there was more sustenance than these sort of more physical, carnal issues that you're facing. You thought that there would be an emotional availability regardless, and it's like in the second week you realize that potentially that wasn't there. Or maybe you even realized that in the first week, and the second week is all about, thinking about how to move forward, really thinking about where you're at. Because, in the latter half of January, the universe is coming in, okay? Things may feel in the beginning of January as the new year crosses over. Things may feel kind of mundane. You may feel not a very strong presence of universal energy. But let me tell you, you're going to be feeling it in the latter half of January. And in the long run, this is great because you need this. This difficult, trying experience that Cancer and Scorpio have been going through needs some of this major arcana energy to come in and help channel it. Okay, so what you need to be doing in the beginning of January, Cancers, is you need to be setting your intentions purely. You do not need to be being vengeful. You don't need to be trying to take advantage of, because that archetype is there for you guys. And, it will play out potentially in you being the person who does that, who takes advantage, or who, tries to strive for this hollow victory, or it may be done to you. The message is it will be repaid, okay? Karma, the universe, it's coming in the latter half of January. So if you feel this extreme pain, Cancers, it will be repaid either to the person who dealt it to you or to you, both to some extent, but the situation is going to feel resolved one way or another, whether that means you moving forward and being gifted a few things so that you feel comfortable to do so, or if that means you resting and, feeling more at peace about the situation. The universe is going to come in and help you get there, okay, in the second half. Specifically in the third week, this is coming to that whole the Moth and the Light archetype. It's showing up big time. This could be a new person that comes into your life during the third week. You've got the Fool, so it represents some kind of new undertaking and some kind of desire for a new undertaking. It's not like you're being pushed to start a new chapter of your life. And it could be in love, but it could also just be any kind of big choice. It could be, kind of a crossroads in your life, and you're just kind of throwing your head up and you're just going. You're moving forward. You're tired of moving backwards. I feel like Cancers have feel like they've been moving backwards, like kind of back to square one. And you're now in the place where you're like, I'm going to move forward regardless. Like, I can't just stay stagnant anymore. Okay, that's good. There's a releasing of stagnant energy, which is going to be really good for you, coming for sure in the third week of January, but probably as a theme throughout all of January. You're letting go of some of the stillness, because you might be starting to feel kind of hardened. You might be starting to feel like physically stiff. Your body may be starting to feel stiff, and your emotional situation and potentially living situation is definitely feeling stiff. There's something very unmoving, and that's been scary to you, but it's like an opportunity presents itself. If it hasn't already in December, for sure in January, an opportunity presents itself where you can change that. And it's a good opportunity. And definitely listen to your gut if you feel like you shouldn't. But I feel like a lot of Cancers are going to feel a strong, like, yes energy, like, I need to do this. And because it may be difficult in the third week, but the fourth week of January really sees some good luck and benevolence, okay? Some Cancers could be going on some kind of detox, maybe trying to change up your body. Maybe for the Cancers who went through a difficult breakup, you're trying to get back out there. You're starting to date again. You might be starting to, like, really change your appearance, and not in a desperate kind of way, but it's like you enjoy it. Maybe you're starting some kind of new exercise regimen or yoga, or maybe you're even starting like new skincare or some kind of routine or ritual as it relates to your beauty, because you've got the Empress, and that's something that you enjoy, and it makes you more attractive too. So that's a really good thing to take on right now, because it is in reverse. The Lovers is as well. And the Empress reverse says that you need to do something for yourself and not be so reliant on magnetizing other people in to fill voids, not being so reliant on magnetizing other people in to kind of save you from yourself, okay? And the reason that the Empress usually falls into reverse is because there's some element of the High Priestess that's been denied, which is the predecessor to the Empress. It's the card before. And the High Priestess is all about going within. It's all about inner knowledge. So when the Empress is reversed, it says to me that you're not relying on that inner knowledge, and you're expecting outward carnal experiences like dating, sex, anything like that. You're expecting those things to distract you from yourself. So my suggestion is to start an exercise regimen, yoga, some kind of skincare routine, some kind of like massage, something that is comfortable to you, that helps your ability to magnetize, that makes you more attractive, yes, but that you can sit down with yourself and pamper yourself a little bit, so that you're helping build that relationship with yourself, so that you're prioritizing yourself. And at the same time, it's making you more attractive to others. Like, what better can you do? I feel like as a reader, I have nailed the whole idea of, transcending the whole archetype of the Empress reversed. So get on that for sure in the 4th week. And you're going to have the ability to do it all. You could be seeing yourself more busy at work. That's something that's a potential. Or if you're starting your own business, it's like that's picking up in the 4th week. But at the end of it all, you're going to have what you need to manifest whatever in your life, because it's the Magician upright. I don't like the Magician reversed, but that's no worry because it's not. This says to me you have the money that it takes to, pamper yourself a little bit if you want to. You have the ideas needed to move forward in your career. And you know what? You might even find yourself getting your emotional stuff together, for lack of a better word, to where you are ready to date again, to where you are ready to get back out there. But don't overcommit yourself too. Don't overextend yourself, because sometimes when you step into this archetype of the Magician, you can really become a major plan maker. Like you're writing all these plans down that you have in all these lists and all these to-do lists. Like, have a realistic idea of what you can accomplish. Make sure that you're setting aside time for yourself. Don't be so outward concerned that you can't set aside time for yourself, because that's going to keep that Empress archetype in reversed, which is, at the end of the day, going to keep you alone, because the Empress reversed is alone. It's the whole idea of wanting to be with somebody and wanting someone else to be in your life, but they're not. You might be waiting by the phone. You might be dating, and it's like you really like somebody, but they're just not contacting you as much as you want to contact them. You feel like they don't like you as much as you like them. And when I see the Empress reversed, I see like that whole idea of like this woman who's like taken all of her makeup off, who's stripped down to no kind of artificial appearance, anything. And it's like she's waiting by the phone, and she's waiting for that person to call her, but they're not calling her, and she's getting emotional. You don't need that, Cancer. You've had enough of that in 2016. That's even for the Cancers who are in relationships. Maybe your partner is going on some kind of business trip, and you're expecting them to be in more communication, and the distance is causing some kind of major problem. You don't need that in January, Cancers. You've had that. That has been your 2016 in essence, even part of your 2015. Okay? So it's time to start building the relationship with yourself. It's time to pamper yourself a little bit. If you're not hearing from people, you know what? Strike up a conversation with yourself. Sit down with a journal, write how you feel, but keep it positive. Don't sink into the depths unless you need that. Maybe you need that. But don't do it, unless you're really trying to transcend something. Don't do it unless you're trying to do some shadow work, Don't get in a pity party for yourself. Sometimes the Lovers reversed, having those two cards together, could suggest potentially getting into a pity party. So don't do that, Cancers, because you have so much going for you. The Fool and the Magician reversed. What a great chronological order of things to happen. You've done something right if you have a chronological order in your reading. The energies are coming in a ordered way. All of your cards are 6 or below in the Major Arcana, and that says to me that the hardest part is over. You've surpassed the Tower, you've gone through Judgment, you've gone through the World. Those things are in the past now, and you're having the great opportunity to start anew, to move forward. And there's no reason to look back and obsess over the past in a way that takes away this amazing feeling of new beginnings for you. Because I think when I walked outside earlier to get in the mood for your reading, Cancer, I think that for me, and feeling bad, it's like potentially if the past weren't what it was, it wouldn't have carried much weight, And you need to embrace that as well, Cancer. Maybe let the past not dictate your actions so much. If there's a bad situation in your life right now, sure, the past may need to influence the way that you go about it. But on the inside, when you see yourself like taking on a really harsh dialogue with yourself, when you see yourself not honoring yourself for standing in your truth, maybe the past and how you've kind of made that a habit, maybe the past and how you've done that more, maybe that doesn't need to have effect over the present or over the future. Maybe it's okay to let go of that. Okay? The moth and the light, that whole archetype, it's beautiful when it happens, but you got to know when to let go. If you're feeling like the light, and this person who you thought was the moth and was so drawn to you, if they're flying towards the darkness and they're not flying towards the light, Cancer, and you're the light, maybe that's their own problem. Why would they? Why would they fly towards the dark? There's, the moths, the insects that are light prone, they don't fly towards the darkness. There's something not functioning systematically correct if that person is flying towards the darkness, and you don't need to be the one to heal that, Cancers. You don't need to be that person for them. If they're flying towards the darkness, that's their own problem to fix. So don't be obsessed over somebody, over a lover from the past, over a relationship that went awry, and you remember when that person was drawn to you. You know what? You're not the moth, Cancer. Don't think that. You are the light. And if this other person who's the moth and at one time was so attracted to you and that you felt that like universal bond with them, I've said it a lot already, but I just feel like I have to repeat it. Do not beat yourself up because they are choosing to fly towards the darkness. Don't make yourself out to be the moth either. You've got to change your perspective, because if you were the moth, you would be at the light and the connection would be healthily functioning. Does that make sense? Like, if you were the moth, don't think that if you're trying to go to this person and they're not there for you, or you're trying to go to this person and it's not working anymore, obviously you're not the moth and they're not the light. You are the light and they are choosing to go the opposite direction as the moth. So you've got to change your perspective and look at it that way, okay? That's going to help you heal a lot, I think. Embrace the fact that you're the light, Cancer. You have so much to offer people. You have so much nurturing, so much compassion, and a lot of Cancers just die to have somebody to eat that up, Like, Cancers want to help people. They want to make things better for them. And if someone wants to go the opposite direction, maybe they're seeking someone who can't do that, Maybe they're not at a place in their life where they need that. And it's their loss, okay? It's their loss, and it's not your loss. It's not your loss. You guys have so much coming in. You guys, it's beautiful. Don't get stuck in the past. Let go of it. Allow your emotional energy to recharge. You're running pretty low on it right now. Some Cancers have had a chance to get some of it back, but it's still in process. It's kind of loading. It's kind of, your emotional receptors are loading right now. They're not quite there yet. So don't be inspiring situations that are going to take more of that away from you. The only way that needs to happen is if it's out of your control. So I'm going to be sending a lot of comforting, bright energy your way, because there's no reason that people need to be taking that away from you. So I am rooting for you guys. I really hope that this reading resonated. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, I'm so appreciative of those of you that do. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising sign, which will be linked in the video playlist to the left. And you can also book a reading with me on this screen as well. It should be up soon. It's the red and green picture, so you can just jump over there. I hope you guys have a great month, and comment as always. Namaste.